Another Sunday, another installment of the Belt Chronicles. This week, WCW United States. We're looking at both versions, the 5 plate, which I have here, and the 3 plate. So this is my 5 plate replica. If you haven't seen that one, it's on the channel. It's probably 4 months old at this point, 5 months old, something like that. Maybe it was maybe a little older. Yeah, I'd say it's probably back in September. But this is just briefly, my replica made by Arosha Belts. They did a killer job on this one. Extra flocked on the wings. The wings usually don't come like that, but I love. There's a couple belts I feel like you could put on TV and nobody would bat an eye. It looks professional enough in my collection. This is one of them. I think if you were to exclude the extra flocking to make it look more TV accurate, it looks like a TV belt to me. So this version of the belt was introduced in 1991. It is originally made by Reggie Parks. So the snapbox tooling, we'll just get into that, is 2x5, and on the female side, and on the male end, it is 2x8. And as far as the tooling goes that's in the snap boxes, I can't get real clear photos, but I'm assuming it's just standard Reggie snapbox tooling, like the pear stamp or something like that. But could not get accurate enough photos on that, so my apologies there. But you do get black backing. It is a steeper leather cut than what you would get later on with the JMAR version, because this portion up here where WCW is stands up taller. You'll see when we go to the JMAR version here in a few minutes, the WCW lettering is compressed. It's a little bit shorter. And so the top of the main plate is shorter. Thus, the strap is not as steep. But what I can tell based on pictures, I see some leather guys get this wrong. I see some get it right. But it looks like there's only two, I'm going to call them humps or hills or mounds, whatever you want to call them, on this strap here. And it seems like Arosha did 3 here, but I could only really see 2 on a belt, on the original belt. Again, that's splitting hairs. That's stuff that, unless you're a detail guy like me, you're not going to notice. But that's just something just to keep in mind. The property plate, here, before we get to that, before we move the belt around, one big difference between the JMAR version and the Reggie version is down here at the corners of the main plate. So the these stars that are they're very similar, if not identical, to the ones you'd find on the Intercontinental. And it does share a lot of traits of the Intercontinental. The heavyweight champion banner, the got kind of stacked look here with the dividers and stuff. But when you get to the JMAR version, which we'll see in a few minutes, these are not stars anymore. These are American flags. So, but the country of the United States always has 4 stars. I did notice that was a similarity. And then, like I was talking about the property plate, you would think, because this belt debuted in 91, around the same time, I'm sure, as the 91 through 94 heavyweight, so Reggie did a property plate. But I've seen a few photos of it, and it's left unpainted. I can't believe that all the paint would be purposely taken out by somebody. I believe Reggie just left it unpainted. But you can see that. And then one other little difference is the belt tip. This has a standard Reggie Parks belt tip. I got to looking at photos, and just like on the 91 through 94 heavyweight, Reggie made a special belt tip that extends to the first set of snaps here. It comes down a little bit longer. I did notice that, and I cannot tell if there's anything written, like on the World Heavyweight Championship, it says WCW Champion. I can't tell if it says anything on the belt tip, but I did notice the shape was a little bit longer, just like the heavyweight. So that's something to note. And then in the mid-90s, I'd say 95, if I remember right, 95 or 96, we get the JMAR version, which would come in. And so there's a couple little things here. Obviously, like I said, you get USA, United States flags here at the bottom. There are some similarities, there are some differences. So obviously with the strap, it's still 2x8 on the male end, and it's still 2x5 on the female end. But with Jamar belts, obviously no belt tip. There, I can't remember if there's a property plate. Yeah, there is a property plate. Okay. But the leather cut is not as steep. It doesn't come up like this. It's just the main plate is shorter. Instead of coming up, it's more just diagonal. It's kind of a shorter strap in terms of height, not length. And then again, it does show 2 points along its way on each side as it makes its way up. The snapbox tooling is typical Jamar snapbox tooling, like what you'd find on a Big Eagle, where it doesn't look like there's any texturing or any tooling, but there is. It's very faint. It's very minimal. And I have photos here of the of a ring used belt. This is I'm gonna give him a plug because I talked to him last night and I asked if I could use his photos. He said yes, as long as I get credit or you leave the watermark on there. I'm gonna do both. On Twitter and on Facebook, you can find him as Dan Beltzer. On Instagram, you can find him as Belt Fan Dan or Belts by Dan. He's also got the Belt Talk Facebook group. But he had in his possession at one point, I don't know if he still has it, a ring used WCW Jamar United States belt. And so what you're seeing now are photos of that belt. And one thing to note is Jamar did croc backing on the back of the strap. So that's one little detail that had I not come across these photos, I wouldn't know. But Dan was gracious enough to let me use them. Thank you very much if you're watching. And I get to share these with you. Another thing to note is the property plate that just says Jamar, right? It appears at one point there was at least one version that was on TV, or I'm sorry, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. Obviously, there's one version, otherwise it wouldn't exist, right? I don't know what the hell I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there may be more than one version because the property plate looks different. So you see the photos, the one that Dan had in his possession. Now we're going to look at some ring used photos of people like Dean Malenko holding it, and I think Kurt Hennig or Roddy Piper holding it. And you see the property plate appears to be different. It appears to be, number one, painted in, and number two, it seems to be a similar shape and design to the property plate you would find on the green strap WWF European. It looks more like that to me. But so you have that. You have, like I said, no belt tip. It's just, this is not going to be a very long video because there's only really 2 versions of the belt. Later we will do the Luger US. I'm in the works of getting one of those made. So when that belt comes in, I'll shoot that episode. But like I said, there's lesser snapbox tooling. It's not as steep of a leather cut. Black croc backing. Snapbox is 2x5 and 2x8. No belt tip. And so a couple things I want to end this with. Number one, the next video you're going to see is not going to be the Belt Chronicles. We're taking a week off of the Belt Chronicles because I'm doing a review for the first time in seemingly forever. I just got a block logo Big Eagle. That came in, I want to say Thursday. Yeah, it came in Thursday. This is Sunday as I'm shooting this. Sunday the 23rd. But anyway, the block logo Big Eagle came in. I bought it used. I bought it secondhand. So next Sunday's video will not be the Belt Chronicles. We are going and doing a review. So kind of dusting those shoes off and putting them back on feels kind of good. I'll be able to pop pour a drink and go over the belt, which is nice. I miss doing that. Another thing, it has come to my attention and a lot of other people's attention within the hobby that Facebook, and I guess you could also maybe include Instagram because they are both owned by Meta, the same parent company, are really cracking down on the word replica. There have been multiple belt pages that I'm on stating that if you use the word replica, you're gone. Because if they crack down on it and they see it posted or see a comment that says the word replica, they will start to look at that group and they deem it as like counterfeit or illegal activity, and they try to remove the group page. And obviously, if you're an admin, if you got these thousands of members on your page, you don't want that to happen. right? Because then you got to try to start a new page and get everybody else to join and know about the fact you got a new page going. It's just a headache. So do not, this is just me putting this out there, do not under any circumstances use the word replica on Facebook anymore. If you want to use shop belt, if you want to use boot as opposed to bootleg, find ways around it. Replica is one of those words that nobody wants you using anymore. And I'd rather you guys find out about it on a video than find out about it when you get booted from a group. So the next video is going to be the block logo Big Eagle that I picked up. And the video after that, getting back to the Belt Chronicles, is next episode of Belt Chronicles is going to be the Oval Intercontinental. So I'll see you guys next week with the Big Eagle review.